Well, everyone, the Samsung Galaxy S25 has just officially came out. I've gotten my hands on it, so let's go and compare it against the iPhone 16 Pro and see which particular phone is the better one for you. Now, the very first thing I will definitely tell you is that when it does come down to both of these devices, I will probably say in almost every single way you can imagine, both these phones are very, very interesting. And that is the thing that I like about both these devices, is that they have a lot of capability, they have a lot of quality, and they're probably more similar than you probably think. I mean, they're not really too different when it comes down to it. So if you want to pick up either one of these phones, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these phones, the iPhone 16 Pro on the front side is giving you a 6.3-inch LTPO Super Retina XDR OLED display. It's a pretty good resolution, it's not bad. It gives you 2000 nits of brightness and it's 120 Hz. Now, there are a few things to keep in mind within this type of panel when you're going to go through and pick it up. Number one, this particular panel, it's not the brightest panel of all time, at 2000 nits of brightness. It isn't the biggest display, but it is bigger than the Galaxy S25, but it's also giving you that, dynamic island display, which could be kind of an annoyance because, it is still taking up a little bit of bezel around the whole entire display, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. On the Samsung Galaxy S25, this phone is giving you a 6.2-inch dynamic LTPO AMOLED display. This panel, it's a little bit of a low resolution than the iPhone 16 Pro. It's still going to be giving you a 120 Hz display, but this panel in and of itself is 2600 nits of brightness. So the panel on the Samsung Galaxy S25 is giving you kind of like less bezel on it. It's giving you a smaller hole punch, and it's also giving you a brighter display. So I would probably argue that the panel on the Samsung Galaxy S25 is probably going to be better than the panel on the iPhone 16 Pro, even though it is a low resolution, just because you are getting a brighter panel with overall less bezel on it. On the bottom, you're getting USB Type-C ports on both of these phones, which look pretty good. Again, not really too much to complain about there from that side. You're also still maintaining other things with these phones like flat sides all throughout. You're getting your frosted glass back on the iPhone 16 Pro and on the Samsung Galaxy S25, which is always something really nice to have. I love having a frosted glass back, and you're basically going to be getting that type of capability on this phone when it kind of comes down to it from that side as well. On top of that, you're still maintaining things like a triple camera setup on the back side, wireless charging on both. There's still a lot of capability and a lot of love that you could still have within this type of panel. And I think that's a really, really important thing to keep in mind, right? Because when you look at both these phones are some of the biggest flagships that you can basically get your hands on right now. And if you are going to go through and pick up a device, I would definitely say it does make a lot of sense to go and buy a device like this when it kind of comes down to it, either one. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that with the Samsung Galaxy S25, this one is kind of giving you, I guess, more like flagship type of features than the iPhone 16 Pro. And that's really when it comes down to reverse wireless charging. It is so nice to basically have reverse wireless charging inside of your device. That is without a doubt one of the coolest things you can basically get your hands on. And I really wish every phone in the market had that type of capability. Unfortunately, this phone does not have that type of capability, so kind of keep that in mind with the iPhone 16 Pro. But the Galaxy S25 will be giving you that. So that right there, I think, is a really nice thing to kind of think about there when it kind of comes down to it. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. From the price tag side, the Samsung Galaxy S25 is slightly cheaper than the iPhone 16 Pro in the brand new market. Even in the used market, the iPhone 16 Pro is still kind of expensive, just because that is still a major flagship. But if you're talking about used prices or even brand new prices, the Galaxy S25 is about $100, $200 cheaper than the iPhone 16 Pro. So from that side too, that is kind of one of those really important things to keep in mind when it kind of comes down to that side. On top of that, when it comes down to their cameras on the backside, both of them, like I said before, are giving you a pretty solid experience when it comes down to the camera side. They're both going to be giving you triple camera setups. You're getting a wide, ultra-wide, and telephoto lens camera on both, which again is something nice to have, and I love having that type of capability on both. But the biggest thing you're going to have to keep in mind here, right? If you're going to go through and pick up any sort of type of phone with any sort of type of camera inside of it, you have to remember that these types of devices are always going to be giving you a little bit of a different type of experience. They're both two different types of operating systems. They're both going to be having different experiences. So that's a big thing to keep in mind here. With something like the iPhone 16 Pro, this type of phone, it looks great. You can do 4K at 120 on the back, and you can do 4K at 60 on the front. And as I mentioned before, that is some really nice stuff to have inside of your type of device, right? Having that type of capability right there that you can basically use as type of camera, it's a really nice type of camera when it comes down to it. It gives you really good photos and videos, and I haven't really had too many complaints about this type of lens when it kind of comes down to it. So I do think if you're going to go through and pick up a camera or pick up a phone, this is a pretty solid phone. It's not really that terrible. And I do think that is a really, really nice thing to kind of keep in mind within that type of phone. The Samsung Galaxy S25 though, it's giving you 8K capability on the back. It's going to be giving you probably an overall better type of camera lens when it comes down to it. And I do think that is a really nice thing to keep in mind here when you are going to go through and pick up a device too. So I will say from that side, definitely I think the Galaxy S25 wins, but the 16 Pro is still pretty decent when it comes down to it as well. Now on top of that, another very big thing to keep in mind here is software longevity. So from what I can see, the iPhone 16 Pro, it's still going to be supported with software for a long time, and so is the Samsung Galaxy S25. Both these phones are going to be lasting for a long period of time, and I think that is in and of itself a very important thing to keep in mind here. Both these phones are going to be lasting for a long period of time. You're not really going to be feeling like you're missing out on too many things when it comes down to the software side comparatively to either one. So I do think that is a really nice thing to keep in mind here. And if I'm going to go through and pick up a phone, I like being able to pick up a phone like either one of these that's going to be giving me that type of experience. So I have zero complaints when it comes down to that side. Also, when it comes down to their batteries, they're both pretty big. The Galaxy S25 is going to be giving you a 4,000 mAh battery. The iPhone 16 Pro is going to be giving you a 3,582 mAh battery. So I would probably say on top of that, if you are going to go through and pick up a device, once again, it is kind of nice to be able to go through and be able to pick up a phone that's going to be giving you that type of experience there, right? That's going to be giving you a better size battery. And that's what the Galaxy S25 is essentially going to be giving you there. Now, finally, when it comes down to the performance, the iPhone 16 Pro is going to be giving you the Apple A18 Pro chip inside with 8GB of RAM, where the Samsung Galaxy S25 is going to be giving you the Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset inside with 12GB of RAM. So even from that side, right, when you're looking at this type of phone, you are probably once again going to be getting very fast phones between both, right? Neither one of these phones are going to be feeling like super slow or super terrible or anything like that. You are going to be getting very fast phones between both these devices. And I do think that is a very nice thing, but I would probably say that the Samsung Galaxy S25 may end up being the one that might end up being the faster one here for the most part. So it's not the biggest deal in the world, but that could be one thing that you might end up thinking about when you're going to go through and pick up this device. So overall, to kind of sum up this whole entire video, I definitely do think that a device like the Samsung Galaxy S25 and the iPhone 16 Pro, these are some of the best iPhones you can get your hands on. These things are very good devices. I like them a lot. And if you are going to go through and pick up these types of phones, I think they're very solid options. I think the best one here, the better one I would probably prefer, if I wasn't looking at like iPhones, Androids, whatever, it would probably be the Samsung Galaxy S25. I feel like that one is probably giving me just more of a flagship experience than something like this, than something like the 16 Pro. But I do feel like the 16 Pro is still a good iPhone. It's still a good iPhone. It's a great iPhone. It's the best one you can buy. But I still think Samsung's in this day and age do tap out on some key features that I personally prefer than on my iPhone. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.